آزادی بیان.
言论自由
Free speech.
I mean, if I may, there's another point there, which is that a law which may indeed be necessary and appropriate in a particular moment when kids of Pakistani origin are being killed, beaten up every day when they come home from school in the 50s and 60s, may actually no longer be appropriate and necessary 40 years later.
Tim, I think you make such an important point. This is why the much maligned European Convention on Human Rights is actually such a wise document. Because it speaks, when it talks about limitations on free speech, and indeed on privacy, it talks about what is necessary and proportionate in a democratic society, and of course that is at a particular moment in time. It is, I am not a fan of offences of Holocaust denial, but I can understand that there may have been a moment in Germany immediately after World War II where you had to identify the remnants of a particular worldview and particular regime, and to deny the Holocaust in that context is equivalent to wearing a paramilitary uniform. And there may have been arguments for it, it's not my place to say, in Germany at that particular time. But whether that still works even in that jurisdiction, let alone in others, so many years after the event, is another matter. I once debated, some years ago now, there was a bit of a row about a young royal who wore a silly uniform, wore a very
we need Prince Harry and a Nazi uniform. Yes,
absolutely, which I don't think many people would defend as a sensible or sensitive or civil way to carry on. But I once debated, I think it was the German ambassador at the relevant time, on a national radio programme, and he was advocating a sort of a criminal offence banning the swastika in modern Britain. And clearly following a pattern of thinking that he'd been used to in his own legal system. And my response to that was the fact that, no doubt, a perfectly decent young person, the latter part of the 20th century, would think it fun to dress in a Nazi uniform suggests that swastikas should not be buried under the carpet. They ought to be better explained. And that, of course, is the classic free speech position, that in the end it is counter speech rather than the suppression of speech that will make things better.
I mean, I think it's such an important point, because if you don't review things in the current context, it's inevitably a ratchet.